Hey there, and welcome back to Color and Craft Haven, a little corner of calm where we can slow down, breathe, and add a little color to the day. Today we're settling in with something that feels a bit like magic sprinkled onto paper: gel pens. Not in a rushed, flashy way, but in that slow, satisfying way where you add just one more tiny detail, and suddenly the whole page feels finished. This is about those final touches, the little moments of sparkle and depth that make your work feel complete without pressure or perfection. Gel pens have a reputation for being either absolutely delightful or mildly intimidating, and sometimes a bit of both at once. They shimmer, they glide, they promise instant beauty, and then occasionally they skip, blob, or run out at the worst possible moment. If you've ever stared at a page thinking, "I don't want to ruin this," you're not alone. That hesitation is very common, especially among adult colorists and anyone using creativity as a form of relaxation rather than performance. What I do love about gel pens, though, is that they don't have to be the star of the show. They don't need to cover entire sections or dominate a page. In fact, I think they're at their best when they're used quietly. A dot here, a line there, a highlight that only catches the light when you tilt the page just right. Gel pen magic is subtle magic, and that's exactly why it fits so beautifully into cozy creativity. Before we even touch pen to paper, it helps to reframe what these tools are for. Gel pens are not about fixing mistakes or proving skill. They're about enjoyment. They're about slowing down enough to notice where light would naturally fall, where texture might exist, or where something could quietly glow. When you take away the pressure to do it right, you give yourself permission to experiment gently. One of my favorite ways to use gel pens is as a final layer, almost like punctuation at the end of a sentence. The coloring itself can be done with pencils or markers or crayons or even paint. But gel pens come in at the end to whisper, "Yes, this is finished now." A thin white line along the edge of a petal, a soft metallic dot on a piece of jewelry, a barely there shimmer in the eye of a fantasy creature. These small touches don't scream for attention, but they reward the viewer who looks closely. White gel pens deserve their own moment of appreciation. They are quietly powerful. They don't sparkle in an obvious way, but they add light, dimension, and softness. A white gel pen can turn flat color into something that feels rounded and alive. Think about the curve of a mug, the shine on a leaf, the glow of moonlight along the edge of a cloud. These details don't need to be perfect. In fact, slightly imperfect lines often feel more organic and comforting. Metallic gel pens bring a different kind of joy. Gold, silver, bronze, copper, they instantly evoke warmth, fantasy, and old world charm. I love using metallics for things that would naturally catch light: armor and jewelry and candle holders, stars, window frames, and tiny decorative details. The key is restraint. A little metallic goes a long way, and that's part of what makes it feel special. Glitter gel pens are probably the most divisive. Some people adore them, others avoid them entirely, and both reactions are valid. Glitter can feel overwhelming if it's overused, but when applied thoughtfully, it can feel magical rather than loud. I like to think of glitter gel pens as fairy dust rather than confetti. A single dot in the center of a flower, a faint line along a wand, a subtle sparkle in the night sky. You don't need to fill large areas to get that sense of enchantment. Another beautiful way to use gel pens is for pattern work. Simple repeating shapes, dots, tiny lines, scallops, or even crosshatches can add texture and interest without adding visual noise. This works especially well in backgrounds or clothing details. Because gel pens tend to sit on top of the paper rather than soaking in, these patterns feel delicate and intentional, almost like embroidery on the page. If you're someone who uses coloring as a form of mindfulness or art therapy, gel pens can become part of that slow, meditative rhythm. The act of adding tiny details encourages you to breathe steadily, to focus on the movement of your hand, and to stay present. There's something very grounding about working small. It pulls you out of urgency and into intention. One thing that often gets overlooked is how lighting affects gel pen work. Gel pens really come alive under soft, angled light. As you work, it can be calming to occasionally tilt the page and watch how the highlights shift. This isn't about checking for flaws. It's about appreciating the way light interacts with what you've created. It turns the process into a quiet conversation between your hand and the page. Paper choice can make a difference, but it doesn't have to be a deal breaker. Gel pens generally perform best on smoother paper, but that doesn't mean you need special supplies to enjoy them. If a pen skips or struggles, slowing down and using lighter pressure can often help. And if a particular pen just doesn't behave, it's okay to set it aside. Cozy creativity is not about forcing tools to cooperate. It's about enjoying yourself. Now, mistakes happen with gel pens, and that's okay too. A slightly crooked line, a dot that's bigger than you intended, a shimmer that landed where you didn't plan. These things rarely ruin a page. In fact, they often add charm. When we let go of the idea that everything must be flawless, we open ourselves up to a more relaxed and forgiving creative experience. For fantasy art lovers, gel pens are especially delightful. They lend themselves naturally to magical themes, glowing runes and enchanted forests, celestial details and otherworldly accents, a soft glow around a moon, tiny stars scattered through hair, a shimmer along the edge of wings. These touches don't need explanation. They simply feel right. Beginner artists sometimes worry that gel pens are too advanced, but I would greatly disagree. Because they're often used for small details, they allow beginners to experiment without committing to larger areas. You can try one highlight, one accent, one tiny embellishment. There's very little risk involved and a lot of potential reward. For slow-living enthusiasts and homebound creatives, gel pen sessions can be a lovely way to mark time. There's no rush, no deadline, no expectation of productivity. You can sit with a cup of tea and soft music in the background and add a few details before setting the page aside. It's creativity that fits into your life gently, rather than demanding energy you might not have right now. I also love the idea of using gel pens to revisit older pages. If you have a coloring page you completed months or even years ago, adding a few thoughtful gel pen details can give it a new life. It's a reminder that creativity isn't linear. You're allowed to return, revise, and add whatever you feel inspired to add. At the end of the day, gel pen magic isn't about sparkle for the sake of sparkle. It's about intention. It's about knowing when a page needs just one more quiet touch, and then stopping. It's about trusting your instincts and honoring your own pace. When used with care and curiosity, gel pens become less of a novelty and more of a gentle companion in your creative practice. As you continue exploring gel pens in your own work, I encourage you to approach them with kindness toward yourself. Try things. Leave space. Let some areas remain simple. Let others glow. There's no single right way to finish a page, and that freedom is part of what makes cozy creativity so nourishing. That's it for today's colorful time. Let me know in the comments what your favorite type of gel pen is, or how you like to use them for finishing touches. Take care, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next one.